Hey, 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 I'm live. Oh my God, it was like such a pain in the butt. I'm sorry I'm late. It was like it wasn't going on the internet. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of crazy energy. So, welcome to my channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Laura. I'm going to do a general message for Virgo along with a reading for my winner, D. I don't know if she's on yet. Not. If you're on, D, let me know. Now, even though that this is a reading for my winner, you may resonate with it. It's not uncommon. We're energy beings, and the universe always brings us the energy of what we need. So, like to just put that out there, even though, like I said, it's reading for my winner. Now, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, all you got to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always the underlining energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they do. Hey, D, you know what? I almost wasn't able to. I sent you an email before of a video that it went around and around and around. I kept trying to log on, and I was like, don't tell me that this is going to happen, because I don't know if you notice, and this is good. Spirit, I love it when I get excited, because it's that spirit is already telling me information. And so spirit always starts everyone's reading off with something that is actually happening, something that just happened. Like I just said, I just tried to log on and I couldn't get on. And I was starting to get emotional, and spirit said, yeah, well, just like the person that you're reading for, they're emotional too. So I feel like your emotions can sometimes get in the way. And so sometimes it really does create an electrical charge, especially if you're an empath. And now that might sound crazy, but it's like all of a sudden the electric doesn't work. All of a sudden, you're on the phone with a friend and you get excited, and the phone just hangs up automatically. It's energy, and I feel like you're someone that has a lot of energy where people can feel your energy, that you don't really say anything, that you're actually intimidating people. Now you might be like, you may not even see yourself as intimidating. Now I feel like that's the underlining energy. Have to what, I can't see what that says. Have to something myself down because this heart is getting in the way, like the emoji. So I'm gonna type something so I can see like the rest of that comment, because I have to talk. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Your emotions get in the way. So too much thought creates too much emotion, and too much emotion creates overstimulation, and that overstimulation creates a freezing with inside of you, that then you get anxiety, and like even more anxiety, and people can feel that within, when you're in a relationship with them. They also can feel that within work. And I feel like you have a lot of powerful energy inside of you, like where you can do really well at work. You put, your energies towards that, but relationships, because of the emotion. Now, I don't know why I picked that up, but that's the underlining energy, even though I didn't pull a card yet, but we are going to pull a card. And you can feel free to ask me whatever questions you want in the description box. Otherwise, Spirit's just going to channel what you need to know. And a lot of times it's not what we want to know. There's always stuff that we want to know, because there's an ego part of self. But the ego part of self is only, again, wants to be satisfied with things that if the spirit was healed, you'd automatically have. And that's what spirit's argument with me is all the time. When I'm like, well, people want to know that. And spirit says, well, again, you're not allowed to predict the future, because there's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness depends. So as an advisor, I have to advise. But if you have questions, like I said, please feel free to put them in the description box. Otherwise, Spirit is just going to focus on what needs to be focused on, which I feel like for you, it's relationships. Okay, apathy. Like I feel like you, yeah, it's just struggling to cut the cord with your ex. That's what spirit says. It's relationships. And the reason why is because what is a cord made up of? It's your thoughts and your emotions. And what did I just tell you about yourself? I'm gonna call you Deep. D. I'm gonna call you D, even though that's not your name. Um, just to abbreviate. So I feel like that accord is created from your thoughts and your emotions. And when you don't have any other focal points except for this person, there needs to be something to take its place. Meaning, this person represents passion. They're acting like they don't care. And that's part of the reason why you're like, I feel like I can't cut the cord because you gave and you gave and you gave and you gave to like somebody that it's not that they don't have feelings, it's just on an emotional level they don't know how to show you what you need. And it's mainly because they have their own issues with feeling their own stuff. So understand it's about cutting the energy that you're giving. And the reason why is that there's nothing, like I said, to take its place. So what's really holding it together is not just and when you can't, like let's just say, well, I go to the gym and I feel better, but then I feel like shit as when I come home I'm back to thinking about this person again. It's the negativity that's holding it together, because this isn't just happy memories. At this point, they're also memories of how this person made you feel, how this person, what this person did, how they acted like they don't care, how they kind of like disposed of you. Like that's what it feels like. And you're like, instead of changing when you gave so much to the relationship. So you have to integrate if the negativity, if let's just say you're like, I have other focuses and I that helps me for a bit, but there I'm still there. Well, it's because you're still ruminating on again this person. And how would you ruminate? It's not happy things at this point, it's sad things. And I feel like, and it's partially because of their self-righteousness, trying to like even talk to them at one place. But you have to understand, it's like this person's insecure, but what it's doing is it's bringing out your insecurity. So that's like the bond, because you're giving too much power to this person. It's again. So let's see what this person feels, even though like I said, you already know that you shouldn't go back with a person that doesn't treat you well. I don't need to tell you that. But we always want to be satisfied a little bit, in spite that spirit says it's not important. It's important to the dust part of self. We want to know, like, even if this person is bad, we're like, are they suffering? Like, do they have any remorse at all? Like anything? Well, that's the ruminating. And that's what I'm saying. It's the negativity that has you bound at this point. And so understand that's your spirit being like, what did you need to learn that you didn't learn, which we need to look at, because once you learn it and you integrate it, you change your energy. So now this person doesn't feel your energy. You're no longer on the same vibration. This person is keeping a cord, believe it or not, by not giving you anything. And what I feel like, it brings you back to a time that you just didn't get the emotional support that you needed, and that's kind of like your theme. So that's really what's making you ruminate. It's like that wound. It's not really what this person did. However, we tend to associate it with this person. This person already opened up a wound that was there. And the way that you've learned to deal with your stress is to like actually ruminate, to not be in your body, to not be present. But really, you have a lot of like successful energy when it comes to work. You have a lot of, you have a big persona, believe it or not. So this person's trying to squash it by actually not giving you any acknowledgement. So again, they feel the loss. It's again, there's a sense that they feel like they gave up. It's again, they see it. I'm not just saying it. There's a loss. There's some sadness because it's again like you gave a lot that's no longer there. So presented themselves with an option to change. And that's really what it is, where you're like, no, I can no longer, and I walk away from this. So I don't think that this person thought that you would do that. So do they feel it? Yes. Um, but there's a sense of where I feel like they put their time and their energy into like doing, like working and into other things to keep their mind busy. And that there is a sense of them being mindful of where they're putting their time. So it's not like they don't have a spiritual connection to you. They do. But there's a sense of almost like they're holding out if you want to know the truth. This person, I feel like you gave so much that there's a sense of, well, you're going to miss me. You're gonna look for me again, even though you walked away, even though you're mad, even though you never really stay mad. And I feel like, and I say that because is a sense of, there's a lot of stamina in these types of relationships, and that's what I feel like this person is kind of playing a little bit of chicken with you, of, well, you're mad. I understand that you're mad, but I don't really know how to come back. So I'm going to stay busy. I'm going to keep my mind busy. So they already know how you are. They know that you're an emotional person. They know that you're going to ruminate. They know that you're going to want to talk things out. They know. And I feel like that the reason why that dynamic is because it's, again, it's showing you what you need to do. Like otherwise you wouldn't be able to really do it. This person's extremely confident in that, but I feel like the reason why you ruminate too is you're like, I made them confident. Like where it's like they're a knight, right? And a knight is like confident, but there's not a sense of, when I see knight, I always tend to think of the knight in the tarot card. Someone that likes to come in and create the persona, but not really be in like a emperor mode, right? Someone that really 100% gives. So I feel like you were really sensitive in the relationship, like not sensitive, like, but more serious is what I'm trying to say. More serious in the relationship, where this person likes to deal with the relationship kind of very casual, and casual because they don't like to feel their emotions. And here you are, like I said, an emotional person. So automatically that's a problem. And I say that because the paradoxal, when people have like avoidance style issue of attachment, and then you have a person that has anxious attachment, that's somebody that didn't get enough love, that needs to get that love. And now you're connected to somebody that, every time they feel the emotions, it's too much for them. They avoid them. So they're never giving you what you need. So again, want to be here to like have like a good time, but not really a long time, because every time the relationship goes in deep, it's a problem. However, there's a spiritual connection between you and this person. And I feel like they did try in their way, which is why I feel like it bothers them. It does bother them, but they're not going to show you, because again, that would show vulnerability, and they're not going to do that, especially if they think that they can hold out and that you're going to like resurface somehow, that you're going to try to work it out. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I have to call it, even if I said something in a past video. There's only so many behaviorisms. There's only 4 attachment styles. Okay. And 3 of them are like pretty much identical. There's only like actually one of them that's not. And that's the anxious avoidant, which is somebody that was always abandoned, that never got what they needed. All the rest are like avoidant. And so unless they're actually a uh, secure attachment is, there's no problems. But all the rest, so that's what you kept reliving. A person, right? That's what I'm saying. That's why, even though I said it in a past video, it's gonna have to call it the way that it is. If it's here, it's here. But there's only so many, spiritual blocks. There's only seven chakras, and they represent the psychological and emotional aspects of ourselves. So there's only so many behaviorisms. There's so many, things. Now people can have a conjunction, which for my last video on Scorpio, I like the person had like 10 different disorders going on. So which, now they're a sociopath, where this person isn't like that, but there's a runner chaser dynamic. So you have to say, I always tend to get this type of person, and that's where the chord really is. It's like there's a belief at this point that you really gave 100% and that things were going to be different, but you keep creating the same thing, which is like people leave. It's like, or it's like, I feel like I do something wrong, or I feel like where you're not, I feel like you just give way too much time, too much emotion, like you care too much. And so when we have the anxious attachment, it's to understand that you have to create the support that you never got. Emotional support comes in, again, joining things, connecting deeply and intimately with people. And that's really what you needed to do in order to be with someone that has avoidant and anxious attachment style. You have to give them very little. And because again, they have a lot of anxiety because on some level when they were growing up, someone took their energy. They weren't allowed to create themselves. It wasn't celebrated when they, you know, stepped into their independence. It's again, and that happens from very codependent homes where there's imbalance. It's where the children now have to become the parent. So this person has a commitment issue. So you being in a comfortable relationship with them, wanting comfort, wanting consistency, well, to them, that creates a lot of anxiety. So they actually sabotage the connection. They get in their own way. And where you'll notice, like, this person is deliberately putting up walls. So, and here you are, someone that's really in tune to other people's emotions, not just your own emotions. You're very emotionally intelligent. You're emotional, but you're emotionally intelligent. You allow that. And so it's a sense of, well, wanting to understand, and then this person just like seeing it as like you're prying into my life, where you're not prying into their life. That's what a relationship is. However, until that person integrates the spiritual lesson, of which mainly people don't, I'm not going to lie. So you have to understand, so then it never gets healed. No, if you wind up in a relationship with somebody that gives them, like, if they were wound up in a relationship with someone that breadcrumbed them, love is still love. Like, that's the supernatural power that's inside of us. That's the healing power within inside of us. The only energy that can transmute negative energy is love. You can't fight negative energy with negative energy. Martin Luther King told us that. It's a basic law. So you have to come back with the person with love. Now, that doesn't mean you abandon yourself. What it means is you can love that person from afar because there is a connection, but you love yourself more. And that's by giving yourself more. You give yourself everything that you wanted that person to give you. Then that person will give to you because they'll see you don't need it. You don't need it, and there's no expectation of them. The issue is that when people have that avoidant attachment style, they're terrified of the expectation. They're terrified of being in the relationship because of, at some point, they were in a relationship, like they at some point in their childhood, they were made to give their energy because again, the imbalances, and then they repeated that behavior. So they go into relationships where they overpromise, underdeliver, because again, intuitively, the survival mechanism is that I give. So I give, but I give to the point that I abandon myself. Now I'm not happy and I have to live shady. And that's kind of what the problem is, where the person really feels inadequate. When meanwhile, you feel inadequate because you're like, well, I never emotionally get what I need. So like goes to like, the imbalance goes to. We just see the paradoxals of energy of one person acts like they don't need love, the other person needs it, where it's not that that person doesn't need love, it's that the person that has formed that avoidant attachment style also has usually a lot of anxiety around relationships, and just they don't trust themselves at all because of again their past relationships, and the only relationships that they've seen are the ones that had that type of energy. So that's what the issue is. So if you wanted to balance out that energy, so either way, whether you wanted this person to come back, whether you wanted to, if you were with this person and you wanted them to be different to you, or whether you just wanted to cut the cord, get the person out the fuck out of your life and your life to be able to attract better energy, the spiritual integration lesson is the same for you. And that's, you weren't in your body. You again in more, again, looking through rose colored glasses of what this relationship could have been. And because they did hold a special place, they stirred up passion with inside of you, but they can't be the number one passion. It's against spiritual law. The universe says passion, your passion for life really is again through becoming yourself. It's how you contribute back to the universe. It's how you give and receive of love. It's how you become the expression of love. And you're giving all this time to this person and they disregarded you, made you feel what you felt before, due to, like, again, how you were brought up, not because you were deserving of it, and not because they didn't have a connection to you. They did have a connection. That's why it's confusing. You're like, well, why did I felt this person had a connection? They do have a connection, but they also have a shitload of behaviorisms that sabotage the connection. So unless you were to actually create yourself, and that's where the problem comes into play. It's like, it's what's your soul's path, to know what your soul's path is, because it's not about getting a job per se, even though when we're investing in ourselves and we're becoming ourselves, usually it leads to some sort of occupation where the universe is returning the contribution by paying you, that there's an equal energy exchange. Otherwise, we're continually giving out our energy and we're never getting anything back for it. And we're not supposed to live that way either. So that's why I'm saying, like, for you, it's when you grow up in the environment where you didn't get love, there was no real support. So there's parts of you that are not developed, and those parts of you are, like, again, the passion, what makes D, what makes her like to, like, watch this kind of stuff, what makes, like, who are you and where are you spending your time, your energy, your focus, and your money. If that's the only person that's in your life, well, you're not gonna, it's not gonna be all of a sudden like replaced with um nothing. The mind doesn't work that way. The law of energy doesn't work that way. The law of energy says, well, something needs to take its place before you get rid of it. Otherwise, like, you're gonna the mind thinks that you're never gonna have anything, so you don't have a choice, and that's the problem. So you just stay put in this limitation of, no, I'm just not gonna date because I don't really trust anybody. And I'm not saying to date. what it's saying, it's like you need to raise your vibration on how you feel about yourself and how people are going to perceive you, on how they allow them to treat you by how you're treating yourself. That you need to put something of equal energy exchange. This person represented passion. Where's other passion in your life? Otherwise, you're going to give too much. As someone that's a feeling person, as someone that's a very emotional person, that also didn't get what you needed in childhood, it's just automatic. You can't balance how much would be the right amount. Especially, we don't know who we're getting, who comes to us in the beginning. You don't know that the person's avoidant when you first meet them. Usually, those people come on where they love bomb you in the beginning, and they, set this whole illusion up that they're this one person and they're not that person. And here you are, like stuck in that place of, wait, like I feel abandoned, and they know it. And that's why you're like ruminating, because you're like, what you did to me. And it's like, but you're still connected to them. So the moment that you disconnect and you replace that energy with another passion, well, now you will trigger this person's ego, because the whole point is that they, hook to you. And that's why you're like, I feel stuck. And when Spirit's saying, you are keeping yourself stuck. And it's like, and you have to say, well, why is that? And it's because, well, it's like, I don't have good experiences with it. I'm afraid, so I feel like what you need to do is you need to like not just like go out and meet somebody. This is about, I sought him out on a dating site. Next one will seek find me. Well, I feel like it's not even be on a dating site. And I have preconceived notions about that. I think it's really difficult. And it's difficult. I'm going to tell you why. Now you do what you want. You're going to talk to someone on a dating site, and they're talking to 80 other people. They don't know, and everybody's a liar. Everyone's only showing you parts of themselves. Everyone wants a relationship. Everyone wants love. But the truth of the matter is, it's like you meet somebody, you connect with somebody. It's like you don't want it. It's more about you having a love affair in your own life. And because then you're contributing to your life. And then other opportunities are coming to you that make you feel good about yourself. And then you're meeting a person that sees you from that perception, where you're showing them, I take care of myself, I invest in myself, I love myself. So unless you're coming in with equal value, I don't have time for you. And emotionally, I don't feel the loss because you're not giving anything. It's like, and that's your problem. It's like there's nothing there. It's just work, home, and then D is over accommodating. D is nice. D wants to treat people the way that D wants to be treated. And God says, absolutely not, because you want to be treated really nicely, and those people haven't earned it. So you're giving the entire pizza pie away, and that leaves us nothing. So no, that person that comes into your life, they get a half a slice of pizza. They don't get anything else but that half a slice, because you're so busy in your own life. They have to take the time to actually get to know you. Why? Because emotional bonds take time. Do you form an emotional bond the first time you meet somebody? No, you do not. The second time, do you form an emotional bond if you're just an open well and tell everybody everything about your life? No, you are not. Nobody cares. It's, again, you have to make that person. And you make them by not saying, I'm going to make you. Well, you say, I'm busy, man. Like I have other options in my life. I'm not telling you that you see that, because clearly I'm invested in my life. So I belong to dancing because I like dancing. I belong to the bicycle club, whatever the hell you're into. And the Spirit says, where is it, D? It's like, where are your passions? It's like, that's what's missing. So this person gets too much, and the story is always the same, keeping you in a place of believing you can't really have what you want. And then being like, and no one's really true or honest. And Spirit says, well, you're doing my job. So just those tapes from your childhood are going to keep replaying same scenarios, keeping you a place of limitation and lack, making you feel bad about yourself when no one should be able to make you feel bad about yourself. It's again, no one should be able to. No one's earned that right. No one's good enough. So it's Spirit says if you feel that way, it's because you're not getting enough support. You're not getting enough love. So it's part of you just being grounded in your body and investing in yourself by yourself. Even though you say, oh, I got to go that by myself. And Spirit says, yes. It's like confident. If you have anxiety, do breath work, do yoga. These are grounding issues that you have. And that unfortunately, if you have issues in your ground, you're going to have issues in every single one of your spiritual centers, because that ground gives you support. That ground gives you, not just support to like your physical body being in your body. And now then utilize that practice of yoga, of why you're doing yoga, and take the practice out to the street, meaning like in the uncomfortable position of having to date, breathe. In the uncomfortable part of dealing with someone that's a difficult person, breathe, because in the breath, that's when you get the divine guidance. That's when you can really see your discernment. Sometimes, like I said, your reading started off that your emotions sometimes get in your way, which is also another thing that makes you feel inadequate, because when we get overly emotional, you can't feel anything. And if a person has that much power over you because you have, that, anxious attachment where you didn't get the love, so you're kind of just already programmed to wait to see that you're not going to get it, that is what the issue is too. Right. And that's why it doesn't need to be long. It needs to be like consistent though. So I always say if you have a root chakra in balance, you want to create a daily practice, and the daily practice like helps you to recondition your body and mind so they work together. Trauma does that. And when you're a kid and you didn't get the nurturing and the love, the support that you needed, to the point that you form that anxious attachment style, well, it's programmed into you. So that's why you want to create a new habit. Again, the law of transmutation, you have to replace it with something else, a new behaviorism, a new way. And understand a lot of times that we don't even, you might not even believe it 100%. We always have to start where we are. It takes a mustard seed. God makes that multiply. We show up for ourselves. And that's really what this is, because this person made you feel about you the way subconsciously you feel about you, even though you're like, I don't really feel that I feel that way, and not on a conscious level, because you have done stuff. You have done work. You have. And hi, Melissa, I'm so sorry about your mom passing away. Um, Eventually, everyone gets picked. So anyway, that's really what it is, getting a better connection to the body and mind. Trauma does that. If you didn't get the support and the love, then being so in tune with the person's feelings also and what they say, people don't care that much. What you realize is when you first meet people, they're surface. They're really surface. And if you're someone that's not surface, they can feel that. So I just feel like, right, in the name of Jesus, 111. Like, so I just feel like that. Like don't if you don't create that support for yourself, then you're not going to be able to ever meet a person that's going to treat you on that level, because those wounds run deep. Like I said, and it's been the same karmic theme. So you have to say the issues, the first, the second, the third chakra. The fourth chakra is not that you're not don't have an open heart, but understand if you don't feel safe to give because that person's not giving you back and you've never gotten back. That's how we create the wall. And so then you're obviously not able to see through your third eye. And we all have these capabilities. So for you, I would say the daily practice should be do the yoga, do some little body mind work. Then it's also like join things, see what you would be interested in. Relationships happen over time, trust happens over time. Learning about yourself happens over time. It's not that you have to wait to meet someone. While you're in the process, you're meeting people. However, you're balanced. You're not going to be giving any person too much. They're getting everything now because you don't invest your time in anything. It's like, not consistently where emotionally you're getting fed. And that's what the problem is. It's like you can't expect the person that's coming into your life to give you what you haven't fed yourself. It's like most people don't even do that for themselves. They need to be taught. And when you're stepped into your best self, a lot of times you meet people that are like, hey, I like the way that this person lives. And they begin to adapt to your behaviorisms. And they do so because they're like, I like the way your life looks. Well, I want to do that. And so it's all about starting with you first because your foundation is not solid. It needs to be, I have a strong connection to not just myself, but to my creator. And that allows me to be very connected to other people through my purpose, through my passion. I, again, feel supported and connected to myself and other people because it helps me stay present. It helps me be in the now. And only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. So it's about then leading up to the second chakra, which is be like childlike, which is children form their individuality. It's who Dee perceives she is when she looks in the mirror, and there's things about you that you don't like. That Spirit's saying, and that's always going to show up within your relationships. And that's always going to show up as an imbalance within your emotional center, which is how your reading started. So Spirit's saying, in order to go with the flow of life, you have to be in the passion for life. That's how your focus is always on the passions of your life and not on the problems of life, because everyone has problems. You create the support, as I said, through that. This way, if a person isn't treating you with respect, you don't sit there and wait for them to change. You change yourself by giving the attention somewhere else. That teaches that person. You don't have a conversation. The person already knows they're not treating you well. It's like, so you're going to have a conversation about it to show that you recognize it. So they say, good, now I know that you know how I'm treating you. And I'm comfortable treating you this way. And eventually you're going to deal with that and a lot less because I'm not going to give you anything more. And it's like trying to put a square peg into a circle hole. It's like you don't do that. It's, again, you change yourself. If a person has real feelings, if they're real and genuine, well, they won't be able to manipulate the fact that they don't really care. It's like they'll be able to fake the funk for only so long because love is God and God always wins. It's the universe. It always collects its due. So, but not if you're not going to live by your truth, if you're going to compromise yourself. So that's why you wound up with someone that had that type of attachment style. But understand, it's very easy to wind up with someone that has that attachment style on the internet because they're not emotionally invested in anything. They're talking to a bunch of other people, going shopping for a person, and everyone is attractive and everybody has a good, so how do you, there's too many options. So that's what the problem is. Instead of the real connections that it's like, oh, I hope that person's going to be at dancing again. Carlos was really hot at dancing. Did you see the pants that he wore? Oh my God. I hope he asked me to dance. You're getting the excitement of it. You build a real relationship. It's like, oh, I wonder whether or not, Bob is going to be like cooking at our cooking class. Last week, he burnt down the kitchen. It was so funny. It's like life happens. You're in the moment. It's like there's passion for life. People feel that passion and it takes on a synergy of its own where somebody else isn't coming in with that type of excitement. If again, it's not that as appealing as Carlos in his short fucking pants, well, guess what? You don't want it because it's not worth your time. And it's not because you're saying, I love myself. I love myself. I don't need to take your breadcrumbs. You don't know what you want, then you're not for me. It's like, because I know what I want. I live in life. And then real people that live in life, guess what? They want to have real relationships. They don't want to have fake relationships. And that's really why I'm saying at this point, I wouldn't go with the dating sites because you already have trauma and it's going to be difficult. This is about seeing yourself differently. This is about having a love affair with yourself, becoming the vibration of love, connecting to other like-minded people so that when a person does come into your life, that they're not getting everything. They didn't earn that. Otherwise, what? You're going to act like you're married, and then, of course, the person is going to dispose of you because they didn't really work for it. They didn't take the time to really get to know you, and it was built on passion. It wasn't built on what's real. It was built on expectation of what it could have been, what you wanted it to be, instead of what it is. And that's why that happens. And trauma will create that too. After a while, we're like, oh, I don't want to really deal with it because I keep getting hurt. You wouldn't get hurt if you were, again, investing in yourself to be like, oh, well, I went to Painting with the Twist on Monday and I met Marianne. Marianne's an alcoholic. She drank like 3 bottles of wine, but she's a riot. And then on Tuesday night, I danced with Carlos. And on Wednesday, I went here. And on Thursday, it's like life is full. There's a lot of hours in the day. And eventually, believe me, you would meet somebody, because what you're saying to the universe is, I want love. I deserve love. I'm going to do it for myself. You have to reparent yourself. When you have anxious attachment style where you tend to be a little bit needy because emotionally you didn't get it, you have to reparent yourself, which means you better spoil the shit out of yourself. And that doesn't mean by going out and buying yourself a bunch of new clothes and doing stuff like that. It means, again, if you were to date, if someone was to date you, what would you want them to do? You'd want them to say, hey, D, do you want to go dancing tonight? Hey, D, do you want to go to this restaurant tonight? Hey, D, do you want to go here? You want to go to Disneyland? Hey, D, you want to, like, what are we doing? Where are we going? It's like that, and that they have to come in that way if that's what you're doing for yourself. They're not going to come in like looking, because they know that you're not going to spend the time with me. You're not going to. Doesn't mean that they might not try. Like somebody that is insecure will come in and they'll might throw their line in, right? And then if you bite, it's like you can see right away if they're not really going to give anything, because you're busy in your life. When somebody really wants to be in your life, trust me, you can't get them out of your life. Don't tell me you've never had that person that you're like, oh my God, let me go down the other way. I see them coming. Or, my God, they've called me 80 times. I've already said that I've been busy and not home, but they're still calling me. You can't get rid of them. I'm telling you, when someone really likes you, they're going to make any little excuse. They're going to really try. You can't scare a person away. You can't. That's why that person that you're like, I've been dodging that person since the 6th grade, and they're still coming after me. It's like no, it's the illusion. Oh, this person has problems. Yeah, but when they were with you, did they have problems? No, when they were with you, they didn't have and before you, when they were chasing you, they didn't have problems. Not until you let them into a relationship, then all of a sudden they tell you about all their problems. And that's why I'm saying you weed all that shit out, because you're doing for yourself. So the person's gonna come into your life, you're gonna not really give them that much. If they come in and say, well, I have problems, you're going to be like, well, I'm sorry that you have problems, but I'm going dancing. I'm going out. I'm sorry about your problems, but you wouldn't feel the need to be the fixer either, because you have your own shit going on. So that forces that person to rise if they want to be in your life. So that's why that happened. That's how you cut the cord. And really not until you cut the cord will this person really be affected. Because on some level they're like, I don't really believe that you're going to do anything, because I dated you and I know how you live, and I know how much you gave me, and I know how much you care, and I know that I wasn't really deserving of it. And so, like I said, the way that you integrate that is to do, and I feel like it's to, like, not just do things like yoga, but I feel like also, like, take some spiritual classes, learn how to, you know, deal with people through knowing what spiritual law is. Like, a lot of times people don't realize that, why they're attracting a person into their life. But I'm telling you, once you integrate those spiritual lessons, you know, you not just break that karmic connection where you're like, I feel corded to this person, but you actually heal those old wounds so you can attract a better energy into your life. Otherwise, you can't open up your third eye. How can you see a better option if you're going to go back into the same shit and be like, well, I'm going back on the chat line, but instead of me reaching out, I'm going to wait for someone to reach out to me? It's the same thing. It's like where, like, Spirit saying, you're not changing. There needs to be a bigger change. Now, that doesn't mean you can't date on the dating site, but let me tell you something. You dating on the dating site, you better be invested in your life other places, because the person then on the dating site, if you're even going to be able to, that's even going to be able to take flight, the person has to see that you're different from all the other person that are on the dating site, because there's a lot of people that are doing what you do, which is go on the dating site because they don't really have time, but then there has so much fear to it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's Russian roulette, but you like doing that. You said that you were on the dating site. That's how you pursued, and you said, I'm going to wait for them to pursue me. That's what you said. That's why I said that. I said, don't, if you're going to go on the dating site, again, you better be interactive in your life, because you're only going to get the same of what it is, you know, because you haven't changed. That's why you have to look at the situation. Why is the situation the way that it is? It's because you're creating it. It's because of what your spiritual energies are. So you have to change the dynamic of it, and then you will meet somebody. Because I feel like, listen, as far as this person, like, I just don't feel like I feel like it's the, obviously you don't need for me to tell you. I just feel like it's not going to, and I just told you how to get that person organically, and then I feel like you'll get that. I feel like, listen, if you do that from these cards, I was like abundance, and again, you'll actually meet somebody within a few weeks, and I'm not lying, in a matter of a few weeks when I ask. No lie. Because it's like you integrated the spiritual lesson. It's not that you can't meet a person. It's the fact that you have not given yourself what you need. You haven't reparented yourself. So those wounds are still there. So you're never seeing a different version of yourself. And so, and understand, just because I'm telling you, once you meet that person in a few weeks, it's not to revert back to giving this person everything. It's to still maintain your life, because you still need to train that person on how you want to be treated, on how much you're giving them. That's the real test, because the relationship, in the beginning, people tend to chase and they have expectation. When they're in the relationship, that's when the people's triggers come out, and everybody has them as you get older. So if you're invested in your life, trust me, you'll be able to handle your triggers better. You'll be able to handle those person's triggers better, and you'll be able to literally create the balance that you need. There's this fly in this room that's driving me crazy. I keep seeing it every once in a while. So do you have any questions? Do you want to know anything? Because like I said, I feel like it's going to happen. It's not that it's not going to happen. It's just going to happen like in a few weeks. But you're not going to meet somebody the other way. I'm going to pull a few cards just because we want to see why you attracted that person, you know, for more confirmation. And then we'll end out the reading by saying, what is there anything else that we need to know? Because I just feel like, oh, okay. Well, again, suppression. So being with the person that emotionally doesn't give to you, again, so that those inner child wounds is, again, not getting, not, and like I said, when we go into adolescence, that's really when we should be applauded, right? When we, again, start to cut the apron strings from our parents, it should be applauded. And sometimes it's not, because if we come from an imbalanced household, we're the ones that are stepping into that, and that suppresses who we are. And innocence, which tends to be like, I feel like this person felt like that, again, you were very innocent, and that's because you gave a lot. You treated them the way you wanted to be treated. That's not a bad trait, but for someone that's wounded, it is, unfortunately. And abandonment, which we knew that already because you told me. You were like, I have attachment, like anxiety attachment. And I said that only happens if you were abandoned. You didn't get the nurturing. And that's a way, believe it or not, that it suppresses your energy. It's like you're not really deserving. And I, like, again, and you didn't really know any better when you were a kid. And in this connection, you didn't really know any better, but you were told what to do. And so you'll have to come back and still be interactive and let me know how things go on your journey, D. Thank you for supporting my channel. I appreciate you and how patient you've been with everything that's going on in my life. And I thank everybody for tuning in. I hope that everyone got something out of this reading, not just D. And I will talk to you guys soon. I will be putting up a video later today, but I have to run. I'm doing 80 different things. Got my workout in. You guys always see me when I look horrible. In order for me to be consistent, that's what it is right now. All right. Love you guys. Mwah. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, D. Mwah.